or you clicked on the video. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. But now I need you to hit that subscribe button, and I need you to ring that bell so you can get notifications for when we post videos. And I need you to smash that like button. Clearly, I got way too animated, but I need you to smash that like button so we can see how far we can really take this video. We appreciate you. Enjoy the content.
Before we, because it is football Sunday.
Yeah, I'm trying to watch these games.
So let's end with, something that everyone knows and loves and enjoys. Our favorite thing, sex scene in movies.
Yeah,
right?
not everybody. I mean, there's some people who don't like.
You know what? So I have a friend who I used to work with, and I've told you this story before, right? He wanted to watch Game of Thrones, but and this is going to segue right into this. We're going to reference Emilia Clarke here, who plays Daenerys Targaryen in a moment. But he wanted to watch Game of Thrones, right? But his wife, who I believe she was like very religious, or maybe she was just insecure and jealous.
You said that in such a.
I said it so just insecure and jealous, unhappy with herself. She would not let him watch Game of Thrones because of how real the sex scenes were and the amount of nudity. She felt uncomfortable. Yeah,
some of the sex scenes weren't real. They don't even lube up or anything. They just right in.
I don't know. If I was Jason Momoa, I'd try and let me see if we'll go for the real thing here. Amelia, how are you feeling today?
Jesus Christ. Yo, dude, she actually, in the article that
Baby, it's cold outside.
Yikes.
I'm going to get in trouble one of these days.
In the actual article, she says how she would like go into the bathroom and like cry because of the scenes. Like us looking at it can be like, whatever.
I think that's bullshit.
No, I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Scene.
She'd go in the bathroom and cry.
Yeah, think about it this way.
Then she'd look at the deposit like, all right,
fair enough. I knew,
and we're live in 3.
Here's how well I know you. I knew you would bring up the money aspect of it. But the thing is that no matter how much you get paid for a job, it's like basically saying, it's like when you say to like an NFL player, right? Shut up and catch, or shut up and whatever, right? It's like, oh, motherfucker, like I know I get paid for this and I know it's my job, but also it's like if you go into your job right now and they just ask you to do some wild ass shit, you're just like, I mean, I know you're paying me, but also no, like this is wild.
And that's very true. Right? It's very true. Like the easy joke to make is my joke about like the money, right?
Yeah.
I mean, sure, it might have been very difficult for her to do those scenes. It could be like degrading. It could challenge your,
and also
your
if you don't go into it knowing
morals.
Exactly what to expect, right? So if you sign the contract, I'm sure they had to mention to you like, hey, you might be doing some nude scenes,
but you didn't know you'd be
getting pounded by fucking
naked.
Jason Momoa.
Yeah, you get thrown down
exactly
and hit from the back by this fucking linebacker. It might be a little bit
different scenario
in front of 30 people on set. That could be very,
especially
very
if it's like one of your first like jobs. You're just so eager to take it. You're like, fuck it, I'll just take the job.
Yeah,
don't care what I'm doing.
All right, Cameron Diaz, put on this black leather.
What is that even a reference to?
So she did some softcore porn before she got her first big break in Hollywood.
I was very lost. I didn't know where that was coming from.
And she says like in the beginning she just was like, I need to work, and so I took whatever like gigs I could get, and she ended up doing this like softcore porn that like for a long time in her career she was unable to escape because directors and producers like, I saw that.
Yikes. I don't like the eyes that you gave me there. It's very disturbing.
Those are the Weinstein eyes is what I gave you. You're going to brand that.
Those are the executive that doesn't care if he gets in trouble or not. He's like, I got enough money.
I've got a role for you. Meet me at the Sheraton.
Was it Steven Seagal had some
that
stories like that? Meet me at my house. Nobody else is there.
Steven Seagal, I'm not coming to your house.
So anyways, how this ties into some another story that came out this past week is that the directors or the Professional Guild of Screenwriters for Britain are trying to restructure how sex scenes are actually done, right? Which obviously affects would have affected Game of Thrones had and I'm sure it's going to affect the
like House of Targaryens.
The prequel that's going to happen. But this is an article out of Variety. We have Directors UK, the Professional Guild of Screen Directors in Britain, has launched guidelines for directing nude and simulated sex scenes to prevent unprofessional conduct in film and TV. Now, why they didn't have this before is a mystery to me, but Described as the first of its kind in the UK, the new guidelines are born of the need to set clear and shared professional expectations that apply to everyone involved in making sensitive content, with the aim that they will become standard working practice within the industry, Directors UK said. One mystery to me why they didn't have guidelines before, because it's like, if you're giving directors on a set pretty much are essentially God on set, right?
Yeah.
Like everything flows through them, right? Nothing really at least depending on how they want to run their set. Sometimes they may give up power. I'm like, I have my first AD, do X, Y, or Z, or worry about you go to them when you want something. For me, I'll just worry about the big picture stuff. Some other people are like really meticulous, like worry about every like minute detail. So it ranges in terms of like what kind of power a director has on set. But if you as a body don't have like at least some vague guidelines in terms of, then directors can just be like, come in and be like, hey, take your top off. Why not?
Yeah.
Fuck it. Is this a sex scene? No, but fuck it.
Yeah. And could you imagine being like a female actress, right? And you're doing the reading, you're reading the script like for the first time, or maybe there were some changes to the script, right? And you're doing like a quick read before you start to film, and it reads, and Henry grabs Caitlin, pulls her close, rips off her blouse, lifts up her skirt, and thrusts himself inside of her. And it's like, wait. We're gonna do this today. But yes, we rewrote this scene last night.
That's the caveat.
Go get dressed.
If it's like, then that means like they can literally just do whatever they want. Meaning that like if it's something you are unaware of before, and I'm sure maybe that would be addressed in contracts. Meaning that if you're signing a contract, there's some language in the contract that speaks to what you'll be asked to do, or generally speaking, or give some sort of language to like, hey, we can ask you pretty much to do anything and you'll be okay with it, right? Set on the dot line,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a weird thing and I wonder with the guilds that are here, in the US, if that's they have to, right? Like you can't just fucking walk on set and be like, hey, so you remember that scene of you walking in the garden before? Yeah,
you're gonna get raped.
No, yeah. That's we're gonna do a rape scene. It's like
3
what?
men. Yeah, and it's like, what?
Wait, what?
And it's particularly surprising that this hasn't already existed when you look at like how they handle sex scene between like young men and women actors.
Oh yeah, especially right? Then like then it becomes like, tread lightly, like what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, like, and it's a very real thing, right? If this is a movie about like a young couple who's like 16 and 17 years old and they fall in love, and there's that like their first time having sex, right? And that is a part of the movie. What are the guidelines, right? If you're a parent of a actress, a young woman who's in one of these movies, right, in one of those scenes, it's like, let's talk about this first before, as a parent, I allow my 17-year-old daughter or whatever who's an actress in this film to take part in this scene. Like, I need to know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it would be very surprising to me if no language and rules around that have been established. It's kind of like, why the fuck did it take so long? Why are we just now having this conversation?
Yeah. So although clearly she was of age, but I know, and I think she's French. Lay Sado. I don't know. I forget I don't know how you pronounce her name, but she's a French actress. She's the Bond's main love interest in the last couple films that he's on in Skyfall, as well as or not in Skyfall, in Spectre. And also I think she's also going to be in this this next Bond film. But I remember there was a story that she did a really sort of famous film, Blue is the Warmest Color. And I remember, I think she had some comments to like, she felt deeply uncomfortable with all of the sex scenes in the film. And the director was kind of like, did she? Didn't notice. Like,
I didn't care much.
Yeah,
we got some great shots.
And I think they were supposed to be a young couple. And I never watched Blue is the Warmest Color, but if I'm to understand correctly, it was supposed to be of like a young lesbian couple that is supposed to be depicting. And so I think, if you have situations like that where you are dealing with younger people, it'd be like you'd actually, as the director, you'd want there to be guidelines, so you're not tripping over some like landmines or some shit. Like I'd want there to be some structures to it.
It kind of takes the pressure off of you to make sure that you put your actors and actresses in situations that they are comfortable with, or aren't uncomfortable with, because like, hey, we're gonna go by the guidelines as simple and as cut and clear as possible. Anything outside of those guidelines, we just have to ask for consent. It helps. It saves everybody, protects everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Just see.
Now, I mean, some directors might see it as somewhat limiting, and like, oh, this, now I'm going to need approval every time I may make a directorial decision in terms of like how I want the scene shot. Right. Like maybe I want something a little bit more intense. Now we have to get approval for like this rougher sex scene because it may fringe on like the terms or the language and the guidelines.
But the thing is you absolutely, especially when you're dealing with, because there's a person that has to actually do that thing. Yes, you should get approval from that person, so you don't just walk on set and be like, especially with something as like sort of like visceral as like sex. Like, you don't want to just like, so for instance, with Marlon Brando and The Last Tango in Paris, right? And I forget who. I gotta look it up to see who
was. This the
the butter.
Yeah.
You don't want to fucking walk on set and then.
You're like, is that margarine?
Yeah.
What is that? Is that in the script?
What are we doing here, guys? Like, you don't want to walk into a situation like that. Like, absolutely, you should get permission from the other person. And I'm sorry if that infringes on your creative freedom. Oh well, like that. Think about any other context where that might make sense. Like, if you're working for like, I don't know, if you're working for any job and. You come in expecting one thing and they say, oh, yeah, by the way, we're going to require this of you that's going to be super intrusive to you as a human being. But we're not going to ask you about that ahead of time. We're just going to assume that you're with it.
Yeah. You can't be like the manager at a Starbucks and it's breast cancer awareness month, so no female staff can wear bras this month in support of breast cancer awareness. You're like, no. So no, these guidelines are very necessary. Right? Again, it protects everybody.
Yeah. As well it should. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we gave you a very solid 2+ hours. So we're gonna get the fuck out of here. We're gonna go watch some ball. My coveted Green Bay Packers are taking the field against Fabian's lowly 49ers. Although they're not lowly, they only lost one game this season. No, I'm very nervous.
Tread lightly.
I will. I'm very nervous about this game. I don't know how it's gonna turn out because it could go one way or another. Looking forward to it.
You know who could play Aaron Rodgers if they did ever do a biopic about him?
Biopic. We talked about that Roberts. The other day. Yeah, probably. No, 100%. I'd be into it.
They look somewhat similar.
Yeah.
They've got similar facial features.
Yeah, they got to handle the beard somehow. They got to figure that out. But other than that, I think
CGI. Whoever did the CGI for the dog, for just CGI some facial hair onto Julia Roberts
for Henry Cavill in Justice League. Whoever did that CGI, remember when he had a mustache because he was in Mission Impossible, and he had to do reshoots for Justice League.
Oh yeah, I remember that story.
Yeah.
The CGI his mustache off.
Yeah, so just get that same person who failed marvelously. Get them to do Julia Roberts' a stash for the Aaron Rodgers biopic. All right, we're gonna get the fuck out of here.